Well, you heard it here first, folks. I am incredibly healthy.
Says me, a person on 3 hours sleep. Welcome to Did I Do That? It's a podcast about making graphic design and making mistakes because it's all part of the process. I'm Sean Schumacher, and joining me today, a very special guest, Advil Migraine. Advil Migraine. When the blue won't do, use the brown to tamp it down. I'm just kidding. In addition to Advil Migraine, we're joined today by an even more special guest. She has previously served in design roles at OMFG Co. and The Wirecutter. In her freelance practice, she's worked with clients like Wieden & Kennedy, AKQA, Intel, Gannett, and more. And she's the co-founder of Each Other, a two-woman brand and identity studio based here in Portland. It's Elizabeth Brown. Hi.
Hi.
Thank you for joining me in this very wacky space.
You're so welcome. Although I don't appreciate being billed second to Advil Migraine, but it's humbling and I'm ready to move forward.
I'm sorry. Do you want me to take it again?
No.
Okay.
No, I loved it. I'm truly kidding.
Advil Migraine is my special friend. I did not sleep terribly well last night, and I got to tell you, that is a powerful cure for all that ails you.
Wait, is Advil Migraine real?
Oh, you don't know about Advil Migraine?
Oh, okay. It's like this is the real stuff because it's brown and orange.
It is brown and orange, and to that
Whoa.
end, the pills themselves are, in fact, amber colored.
God, we are already off to a thrilling start.
We're way off track already.
Okay.
This is the podcast where we describe what Advil Migraine looks like. Advil Migraine, find it in stores. Also, hey, whatever company makes Advil, maybe the Advil company. If you want to give me some money, I'll take it. I use your product all the time. So it is January 6th, as we record, a day that is just chock full of good memories and good times and
some of the best.
No problems at all. And I'm sure that's not at all why I'm losing sleep. And I also think of this kind of as the demarcation of the end of the holiday season, like we're starting school back up again next week.
Yes.
And, the holiday season, it's sort of a December to remember, where, people get their partner's Lexuses with bows tied to the top of them. So that sort of makes me wonder, do you tend to wish people a happy Honda days, a Toyota-thon? What's your go-to?
Oh, I'm definitely happy Honda days.
Oh, of course.
Because I think it's the least graceful of the three in terms of the way that it sounds rolling off your tongue.
Bad?
Yeah, and I really am like, okay, that one was a stretch, and we know how much money went into figuring that out. So now they're like, well, we can't change it.
No.
So we have to stick with happy Honda days.
Happy Honda days, you say? Okay.
It sounds like somebody is uncomfortable saying Hanukkah. Like,
I've never made that connection
Honda
before.
Day.
It absolutely does. Happy, how do you pronounce that word? Honda days?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I got it.
I think my boyfriend's family celebrates Honda Day. I'm really nervous because I'm not Jewish, so hopefully I can sort of understand.
Well, we can all understand the wonderful deals that you can get during this season.
Yeah.
To be pleasant. I don't know. I was trying to do a new one, and it turns out they're actually really hard to come up with on the fly.
Oh, for cars?
Yeah, because, December to Remember is, I think, the Lexus one, and that one is pretty good.
A December to Remember, it has nothing to do with the word Lexus.
It doesn't, and I think I do appreciate that about it. They really kind of lean into the giant bow on top of the car, which is an aesthetic.
Yeah, it's a really unique aesthetic.
And I think a unique statement of American consumption, that the idea that you can just spend $80,000 on a car and not tell the person that
I love that.
share romantic and finance and life things with.
That and the puppy.
Yeah.
Is like the equivalent of, I mean, to me, people getting engaged and the woman didn't know before. Like, why are you not talking about these things?
It seems like a conversation is in order.
Here, I'm going to really change our life. Surprise!
We're moving to the moon.
Yeah.
We're going to be the first 2 people there. Now, we haven't figured out a way to get like food and water up there. So that's going to be like something that we figure out. But I'm just so excited to be on this journey with you.
And it comes with a big bow.
Of course it does. The bow will burn up on re-entry.
Yes.
Well, I think we've made it a January to remember at the very least. So how are you doing? How is this new year of 2023 treating you so far?
I have to say, I'm really running with the New Year, New Me bit.
Oh, really?
And I don't know why I've been energized. Well, I think it's, half in part to cleaning motivation TikToks, which my younger cousin told me about. And she was like, I can't clean my house unless I watch cleaning TikToks. And I started doing that. And
what do they consist of?
it's like, are you on TikTok?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, I can't really do the sound. There's people do these videos that are really short cuts of them cooking or doing any other thing that's
okay.
Shh.
Oh, I've seen those.
Yeah.
Yes, they're kind of a little bit ASMR-y too.
Yeah, they're like ASMR, and then it's making a process that's actually very long, very quick.
Yes.
It's just cleaning motivation, or they're like, follow me on my Sunday tidy. I don't know, but it really works. I was like, I can clean. I'm just not a clean person at all, but I've cleaned my house in ways I never thought I would. And then also I've, like everyone else, decided that I'm really into fitness now.
Nice.
For the past
excellent
6 days. So I'm very energized, I think, because I'm doing, completing things that I wouldn't normally do. So I'm running with the bit. I think it's lasting for now. I'm feeling very energized and yeah, and not to mention I've been sleeping in late every day too.
Well, we were having this conversation before we started recording. Yeah. The sunset now is 4:30 here in Portland, which is just a really great, productive way to do it.
It's such a good time for the world to get dark.
Excellent, really helpful. I appreciate you so much, daylight savings time. Won't revel in your eventual extinction.
No, it's well, I can't start working before 10, and I absolutely can't work after 4. So my 6-hour work days are, plus an hour lunch,
Yeah.
Incredibly productive.
And you're going to get lots of emails back just on time with everyone else on the same schedule.
Yes.
Things move along at a great pace.
Yes.
Have you procured equipment for this new like experience?
Oh no, I really like doing spin and I like dancing. And I think in the past I was just like, I don't really want to like prioritize spending a bunch of money on classes because classes are so expensive.
Yeah.
But then I was just like, just do the thing that you like and what makes you happy, and then you'll actually move your body.
That's true. That's true. And I did make the mistake myself several years ago of buying the equipment and
like weights.
These arms that are about the diameter of the pen that I'm holding. I bought a rowing machine.
Oh wow, you really went in.
Yeah, I bought the biggest, heaviest thing that I could think of, and it turns out that's really inconvenient to have in your one-bedroom apartment.
Do you like rowing?
I thought I might at the time.
Oh, no.
And it turned out I did for a while, and now I just have this very large machine that I would say is sort of in charge of my closet.
Yeah. No, a rower, I thought you meant like you bought some weights, but a rowing machine is, you really went in.
Yeah. I mean, I wanted to get the most bang for my buck, and that's a good one because it does a lot of stuff. You have to be very active.
You can row.
Absolutely.
First and foremost.
I mean, you can be on a river, say, in a boat and enjoy that.
And I mean, that's happening all the time. You never
All
know
the
when you're going to be
time.
on the river.
People in this city really love to be on the river just all the time. It
Yeah.
doesn't fill with sewage at random intervals.
And I never know when a rowing opportunity is going to present itself, but it's more often than you would think.
Well, sometimes you just want to pop over to Ross Island
Exactly.
and see some
with your
places
crew, with your whole rowing crew.
Well, also just to steal gravel, of course.
Yes.
That's the place where you get sand and gravel from.
It is indeed.
You got to mine it out of there. There's no other places you can get that.
No.
Yeah. So, kind of like what got you into design originally?
Well,
was that a smooth enough transition?
Yeah. Well, it's funny you should ask that, Sean.
What's wrong with me today?
So,
Advil Migraine. I take it back. Bad job.
I was always really into art growing up. I was like a little creative lass. And then my high school art teacher, AP art teacher, scared many of us out of applying to art school.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she's like, if you can't handle this, you'll never be able to handle art school.
Oh, God, one of those
very
types.
Weird, yeah.
Ugh.
So I went to University of San Francisco. I based my college choice off of what city I wanted to live in.
Oh, so you weren't from San Francisco?
No, I grew up in Lake Oswego.
Oh, fancy.
I wish. I was like, I only had one friend that lived on the lake. Imagine how hard that was for me. I wasn't even a lake kid. I was just, I guess, an Oswego kid.
Yeah. For those of us who maybe don't know, Lake Oswego is a very affluent suburban city south of here.
Well, let me just give you a little context so I can back myself up here. My parents currently live in Vancouver, Washington, and Milwaukee, Oregon.
Okay.
So, we were like Lake Oswego aspirations. But anyway, so I grew up there, and then I went to school in San Francisco. And my roommate, she had signed up for design. It was a program that you did not need to like apply to get into.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was just like, here's another major.
Huh.
But yeah, so she was just taking like intro, like art classes and then like intro to design classes. And I was like, what you're doing looks way more fun than what I'm doing. I'm doing like vague communications classes. I don't even know what communications is as a major.
Oh.
Yeah. And so I just switched over and then I took design classes. I really wanted to try to like transfer to like an art school, but I was already a year in and everywhere that I talked to was like, well, you're going to have to do an extra year of school to get all the credits. And so, yeah, my parents and I were both just like, nah, let's not do that. So I studied design there, and then I got an internship at this now defunct publication called The Bold Italic.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of them. I do.
They were like an IDEO
yes
project that was really great in concept and did not work in execution.
I can't think of any other things IDEO does that are like that.
No.
They're the darlings of the business design thinking movement.
They are.
A movement that's really done good things to the world.
Indeed. Yeah, they just are putting a new name on what most of us just call research. And so then my boss there, she's amazing. Like, we're still friends today, and she's been a really great mentor. She was like leaving, the whole publication was shutting down, and so she was starting her own little design studio, and they needed a junior designer. So I hopped on board, and we did mostly branding and then some other work, but that's kind of like how I got into branding.
Oh, really?
That was my favorite thing that we did.
Had you like gotten to do a lot of kind of branding work in school? Like, what was the transition there?
Oh, the transition was clunky.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, truly, the design program at USF is fine, but it is run by a fine artist that works in technology. She's brilliant. And then there's some really great professors as well, but I think there was kind of a disconnect between like what is happening in the professional world and then what we were doing. And also it's just not an art school. So it's kind of more casual of a program. So I know we did like typography, book design. We did a web design class. I really don't think we did a branding class.
Oh.
Like I had a moment where Indy, my boss and mentor, was like, okay, just like do that thing you have to do in art school where you just like you sketch 100 logos. And I was like, I have never done that.
I don't think I had to do that either.
Yeah. I mean, she went to CCA.
Oh.
Well, no, actually she went to Parsons and then she got her master's at CCA. So I think that she had like a pretty strong education in design. But yeah, it was like an interesting transition. And I actually at one point like tried to get myself fired because I thought I was so bad at design.
Really?
At the time, she like wasn't really that communicative around like feedback or check-ins. It was very casual. It was her, this other guy, Matt, who's great, and then me. And I think she just hadn't really like, there wasn't like a structure around, me as an employee. And so she just hadn't like given me a ton of positive feedback. And then I was like, asked her to go for a walk and was like, hey, so like I don't know if I should be a designer, like I don't know if I want to be a designer, like I'm thinking maybe I should like go down. And she was like, are you trying to get me to fire you right now? And I was like, well, I just don't think I'm doing that good of a job. And she was like, what are you talking about? You're doing a great job. She's like, I'm sorry, I'm just not that good at giving feedback. She's like, I'm not that good at like doing the kind of like check-in positive reinforcement stuff. But she's like, I can totally try to get better at it. And you're doing a great job. I'm not worried about it. And you shouldn't quit design.
I mean, I would say that's a pretty positive end result, at least.
Oh, totally. Yeah. No, it was great. She's great. I love her. I think we were both just like adjusting to me like having my first job and then her like having a junior designer that she needed to, or like having an employee that she kind of needed to check in with.
Did you have any vision as you were kind of going through that attempting to quit process of what you would do on the other side of it?
Oh, interesting. Probably not. I don't know. I mean, honestly, I don't love designing.
Really?
Yeah, I actually like, I'm not like, I'm a decent graphic designer, but it's not like the thing that makes me tick. And
I think that's actually probably the most healthy perspective that you could have on it.
Yeah. Well, you heard it here first, folks. I am incredibly healthy.
Says me, a person on 3 hours sleep.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, I've actually kind of transitioned more into like brand strategy and creative direction. And then in a lot of the projects that we've been getting recently, I've been doing some interior design too. So I actually do not think, I think in that moment, that was like an authentic sort of reaction to doing design all the time too, because I don't think that design is my calling. I don't want to, like, I don't have drive to like sit behind a computer for like hours and hours and create. Like I don't get like lost in the work that I'm doing.
Yeah.
So, which I mean, I think is Ellen, my partner, is such an amazing designer and she will just like keep pushing for so long. And I mean, we have really incredible visual design for the projects that we do because of that. And so I like see that and I'm like, I just don't think that's how I feel.
It's hard because I think like, at least in my experience, when I have just done design and nothing but design, I get really bad at it.
Yeah.
And like, I think it was only when I came back to teaching that I started to feel like, oh, I'm getting new perspectives. I'm doing things other than sitting behind the computer.
Yes.
And that's what feeds it.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I think like, also, we've had a few projects lately that I've like hopped on board for the first round of visual design. And that's been a really fun exploration because I'm not doing design as much anymore. So I think like not being exhausted with it has helped. When I did that for a couple projects we worked on, I was like, oh, I actually really like what I came up with or feel like this is like fresh and interesting and, whatever.
Yeah.
Works within the framework that we're building. But I think when I start to like design all day long, a little part of me dies.
As well it should. We're human beings. We're animals. Yes. We should move around and stuff.
No, we should. We should move around. We should talk to people. We should,
These brain things, they're only just like one part of us. And
yes, totally.
They get very frustrated when they only do one thing.
That is very true. I know. I think I'm here having a unique perspective. And you're like, well, no, that's actually universal.
Well, I think what is especially unique is that you're recognizing it when so many people in so many professions don't recognize it until they're just totally not doing the thing that they want anymore.
That's true. Yeah, I am amazing in that sense.
Yeah, it's so, but like you're getting to do interiors, you're getting to do like all this other kind of dynamic work, including like research, essentially.
Yes, totally.
Like,
and then teaching too.
Yeah. Like, do you find that feel like that kind of fills the need a little better, and you're like energized?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, I just have always kind of. I mean, the reason that I work for myself is because I always have felt like I want a really solid work-life balance. And the life part can also mean like other creative pursuits that I have. I think Ellen and I both are like, this is what we do for a living, and we really like the work that we do, and we get to work on awesome jobs with really cool clients that we care deeply about.
Yeah.
But we also want to make sure that we're like stretching creative muscles outside of that and like pursuing, like Ellen does ceramics and she's in a band, and I'm doing like, I don't know, immersive theater projects on the side. And like photo shoots with friends and things like that. So I also think that, I mean, I always tell I always tell my students in the one term that I've taught that's just like being a multi-dimensional person makes you a better designer.
Yes, absolutely it does. Absolutely it does. If this is the only thing you're doing, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there are people who are incredible designers, and that's the thing that they really focus on. Like, I have a friend who's amazing, and she's always doing design in her free time, and right now she's like building a typeface for the first time. She's super talented, and she, will become like the creative director or a partner of a very good studio. But that's like truly is her passion and what makes her tick. And so I'm like, I don't need to compare myself to her. She is that, and it's amazing, and that works for her. And then I have other things that work for me that make me feel like inspired in different ways.
That's a great perspective. I think like let's let 2023 be the year of finding the thing that brings you joy, and let that just be where you want to be.
I think
without questioning it.
I think that's what 2023 is going to be.
Yeah.
Plus a lot of money.
That would be nice. It certainly was not the case in 2022 for me.
Oh, same.
Yeah.
It was a great year. I just kept going, well, I'm rich in friendship.
Yeah, but you can't put friendship into a vault and swim around in it Scrooge McDuck style.
No, you can't, and I've
tried. It doesn't work.
No, it does not. Your friends get kind of irritated because you're like elbowing their eyeballs.
Yeah. Also, clip your fingernails first is what I've learned. Yeah. You don't want to open up any wounds there.
No.
Yeah. Where were we at? Oh yeah, so you've essentially tried to quit this job, which is like your first kind of studio job.
The like byline of this, or like the title of this episode is like, local designer hates design, tried to quit. No, okay. So I tried to quit, but I actually do. I mean, I'm a marketer for a living. Let's just get over it. I do like branding. I think it's really an interesting, it's kind of like a cool exploration, because it's really is like you have to build out a conceptual framework, and then you make your decisions through that. So it kind of is like speaks to my more logical mind.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, there is an answer here, but also that answer is a little bit fluid, which I think is like where I'm not really like a UX person, you know.
Same
and
here. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I'm not like whatever doing just like a poster that's whatever I want it to be because I'm like a cool free thinking designer. So branding is kind of in the middle where it's like a little bit of logical, a little bit of creative.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I tried to quit, and then I was like, okay, I shouldn't quit. And then honestly, I think like they were having a hard time with the company, and I think we're like considering some options, and I was like, I kind of need to move on to something else. And then also I was already thinking about moving back to Portland because I came back to visit, and San Francisco is so expensive. I could never save a penny.
Was this before it really blew up?
It was like right
cost-wise?
when it did. So I graduated in 2011, and then I think I left in 2013, and it really was like every conversation was about like what the city is turning into in like not a productive way, just like a lot of like hip young white kids talking about how tech people are taking over. It's just like, this is not productive. We are also gentrifying.
Yeah.
May I remind you.
Everyone's wrong.
Yeah, everyone's wrong. So I just kind of already felt like I wanted to move back to Portland for a bit. In retrospect, I'm like, whoa, my life was dope there. But I think I was just really overwhelmed with like money stuff because I just couldn't save any money whatsoever.
Yeah.
And I was having like a hard time just like, I mean, whatever. You live in a city. You want to spend money. You're not going to be like, well, I guess I'm not going to go out to dinner. That's like what you do when you live in a bigger city.
That's the point.
Yeah. So I was thinking about moving home for a bit. And then I actually started dating my ex kind of long distance. And we did that for a few months. And I was like, well, I kind of want to go freelance. Portland is a lot less expensive than San Francisco, so it's less scary for me to do that. And then also this person that I'm like falling in love with lives up there.
Oh.
Yes. So then I was like, well, I guess I'm moving back to Portland. Well, first I was like, I'm going to move back for like a few months. And then we're going to go back to San Francisco. So I didn't even really like tell that many people I was leaving. And when I came to visit, they're like, where have you been? I'm like, oh, I moved to Portland. I thought only for 6 months, but lo and behold, 9 years later, here I am.
Time has a way of catching up with you like that.
Oh my God, yeah. So yeah, and then I freelanced for a couple of years, and then I was like, I really got to pay off my student loans. So then I got a job at the wire cutter.
Yes, the famed.
Yes.
Had it already been bought by the New York Times at that
No,
point?
I was part of the group of people that got let go right before the acquisition.
Ooh.
Yeah, they like cut their whole.
They wire cut it.
They wire cutted that design team. No, the whole idea was like a lot of the offices or a lot of the people are remote, and they were like found a designer that they liked, and he was gonna like run the Portland like design studio kind of. But I think that like by the time I came on, we were doing a big website redesign. Oh my gosh, it was honestly miserable. It was like me and my boss, who was he's an absolute sweetie, but like we don't have anything in common. Me and him alone in an office every single day for a year.
Oh.
That's when I really got into podcasts, and I was like, podcasters are my friends.
Made some investments in some noise canceling headphones, maybe.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was like working on this we were just doing like really high fidelity designs of pages that were really complex.
Oh.
Yeah. So I would just ended up doing like a ton of UI and then also some other work that was just like not. He and I had like a different preference. Like we had really different skill set and kind of what we liked in terms of like editorial illustrations or whatever. So we just were like, didn't totally see eye to eye, and had different skill set.
And you can't really bring any other voices into that conversation when it's just the two of you.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And then they like paused on the website and were like, we're not doing this anymore. And then they let him and his boss go.
Ooh.
And then they had like an editor being my boss for a while, which was really bad.
Yeah.
And I was just like, what is happening? What is happening? Why is this so chaotic? And then they let me go. And then like a month later, they were just like, we're dissolving the design team. And I was like, what? You don't need designers. But, they have designers at the New York Times. I was like, damn it.
Yeah. The Times, famously a good place to work, the New York Times.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I will say, you know what? I paid off all my student loans. Sure. Did I cry on my way to work sometimes?
Ooh.
Absolutely. But I paid off my student loans, baby.
I mean, that's at least you don't have that anymore. That's
that was
a
great.
nice thing.
And then in it was 2017, and OMFG Co. posted that they were looking for someone. And I had done freelancing around town, but I just never felt like any agency was really a good fit for me.
Yeah.
So I always felt kind of like I was in interviews, molding my questions to be what they wanted answered. And then it was great because I interviewed there and I was like, I want to do the same work that they do. We have similar process. I set up a presentation of my process, and they really liked that. And it was just a really easy, natural fit.
Yeah.
And so, so that was great. And then it was contract to hire. And so they hired me, and it just felt like the right fit. I was glad that I hadn't done, because I had been asked to go kind of more full-time or longer term at other agencies that I just wasn't really happy at. And then I was stoked.
What kind of work were you doing over there
At
in the
OMFG
early days? Yeah.
I mean, they would do a lot of hospitality work.
Yeah.
Then we did some nonprofit work. My team was me, my current partner Ellen. She was the art director of our team. And then this other designer, OJ, who's really great. He kind of leans more into illustration. He's a really great designer too. And it was the three of us, and kind of over time, we would always do an audit and discovery. And I was just finding that I was really interested in the strategy aspect of branding work. So I kind of would take the lead on the strategy portion just because I wanted to.
Oh.
And then OJ and Ellen were kind of leading more of the design, and we would all work on art direction together.
Yeah. You met Ellen there. What
Yes.
what sort of connection did you kind of find there that
Toxic. But I can't get out of it. Help. No.
You're just, the two star-crossed people.
Yeah.
Enemies. What is the metaphor that I'm looking for? I don't really know.
I don't know. No, Ellen and I just worked so well together from the get-go. We had a really similar outlook. I don't know. We were just pulling from similar places, and I think we also, our styles really complement each other. And I don't know, we just really liked working together, and we really respected each other in the way that we organized files. No, she's still better at that than I am. But I think it just really clicked.
Yeah.
In a way that it hadn't before for me. I had worked at either small studios or just freelance. So I hadn't really worked at a job with other peers. And they do such a good job at hiring. I always learned so much from all the other people that worked there. And we just clicked, and that's kind of how we decided to go out on our own, because we had kind of naturally split up the process of our projects.
Yeah.
And then I was like, hey, we could do this ourselves. What do you think about that?
Yeah. Well, and then you get more control too over the kind of jobs you
Yes.
take on and the clients you work with.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then we, had some frustrations that we don't have to get into. And I was like, what if we just do this for ourselves? I'm pretty confident. Ellen is so connected in the design world, and I feel like I have a very random network of people that I can, that hand us jobs. And so our networks are very different, so it makes them broader. And we had both freelanced before. And then actually Indy, we were thinking of leaving, and then Indy, that same boss that I had at my first job, she had been doing some freelance work for Patreon. She had started a studio up again. And she was like, I'm closing my studio and I have this really big project that Patreon has come to me for. I can give it to you.
Wow.
If you want it. And I mean, it's like still one of our biggest projects to date. It wasn't like one big project, but it was just like they needed a lot of work. They were kind of like understaffed on their design team. So yeah, she like helped us bid on the project and then we got it. And that was like the first week of us starting our studio.
Wow.
Yeah, it was very, very lucky because I think before that we were a little bit nervous about like, okay, we're quitting. Like we put in our notice, or maybe we put in our notice when we got that job. I think that's what happened. We kind of got that. We were talking about it in March. And then at the end of April, Indy was like, here's this job. And then we were like, okay, now we can, I think we put in a month's notice. Just to like give them time since it was both of us.
Yeah.
And then we basically told the client like we can start May 1st or May 15th or whatever. And then that was our first project.
I mean, that's a pretty great kind of kickstart to bring in the name of a different company that's unrelated entirely to Patreon. Patreon, you get what you want from Patreon, unlike certain other companies that I just named. I mean, in theory, you can give money to. What am I trying to?
In theory, you can give money to anyone.
In theory, you can give money to me. Why not? There's many reasons why not. Don't give money to me. But yeah, so I mean, starting a new studio, that's like a big, scary thing.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of lessons did you kind of learn from that process?
I mean, it's definitely very scary. I feel like I live with a certain amount of anxiety around money making all the time.
Yeah. It's understandable.
I think something that we're both like currently learning is like, well, Ellen's been better about this than I have, but like actually taking the time off that we said we're going to take off.
Yeah.
Cause I think it's like every year we've been like, we're taking 2 weeks off for Christmas. And then like the couple first years, I picked up a client that like needed stuff around Christmas. It was so stupid, but I wanted to help them and I wanted to do the project. And then the next year, I think I just like kind of let work bleed into my time. And then this is actually the first year, we're like 4 years in, that I actually took 2 weeks off. And it gave me a lot of anxiety. And like a couple things were like tough for our clients that we were like mid project on. And I'm like managing the guilt around that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I am currently learning, like respecting the time that I need to take off. And then also just like time management. I think it's hard to, it's not hard. That sounds so like privileged, but it's hard. It's difficult to manage your time, for me at least, when I don't like go to a 9-to-5 job.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of balancing of like trying to figure out what I want to do, feeling okay with that, like managing like anxiety around money. It's very like, it just is not like you go and then you leave.
Yeah.
It kind of is just like it's just like seems more of like part of the whole tapestry of your life as opposed to one thing in your life that you do.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that is a danger in starting your own thing. It's like it has a way of taking over. Yeah.
But I feel very, very fortunate that I'm able to do it, and I would not trade it for the world. Well, I would trade it for the world. If I could own the world, yeah, I'd trade it. I would.
Would you really want to, though? It's a fixer-upper.
No, only if it was like an investment that I'm just gonna flip it and sell it the next year for twice the price.
Well, we've got some aliens from the Andromeda Galaxy. They're gonna be looking at
people are interested.
They've heard that the schools here are pretty good.
The schools are great, and it has longevity.
Yeah. It's quaint, you know? It's a little bit off the grid, but like, I don't know, it's got character.
Oh, one other thing that I think I've learned more is to listen to my intuition about like whether I should work with someone.
Yeah.
that has been hard for me because I have a very hard time saying no. I also I'm very more is more.
Yeah.
I just also have a hard time letting people go in my life. So like giving a rejection to a project like feels really bad to me.
Yeah.
And I think there's been some times where maybe Ellen was like, I don't know about this. Like, this doesn't seem like a great idea. And I'm like, it'll be fine. We'll work through it. And then cut to like a not amicable parting with the client.
Yeah.
So I think listening to more to like my intuition, then also trusting Ellen's intuition. I think, having a partner is like a very interesting challenge that's incredibly rewarding, but just like, balancing our needs and listening to each other and, not taking things on when it doesn't make sense for us.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of learning around that.
It's hard though. It's so hard.
It's really hard to say no, and
Yeah.
I'm such a like, maybe this will be good for this in the future. Like I'm very like possibilities oriented.
Yeah.
It's funny because I think in my relationship with Ellen, she is more of the like logical thinker, realistic thinker, and then I'm kind of like the dreamy person, but then I do some creative work with my roommate Anna, and like she's the dreamy creative person and I'm the one that's like, whoa, reel it back in. So it's funny being like both in different creative partnerships.
Yeah.
But I think it's like it's good to have that balance.
You're getting to exercise all the parts of your brain in
Yes.
these relationships. Like,
yes,
that's,
totally.
I think that's really important. It's as you're describing it, like it's all I could think is just how many times I've been in that boat as a designer and as a teacher, just like trying to find like the places, and frankly as a person, the places in your life where boundaries can be set that are healthy for everyone. And it's so hard.
It is. Every time you think that you have set every imaginable boundary possible with a client, a new client comes along and presents another challenge. And it's like, I remember Indy, my boss, when we were working together, she was like, having clients is like having so many annoying boyfriends. They all have different needs and they're not good at communicating around them.
No.
I was like, girl, totally.
They don't know what they want.
No, it's just, it is like a lot of like balancing clients and their needs. And I mean, obviously it's like a lot more of like a psychological challenge than I thought. Just like meeting people's needs and approaching them in a way that's gonna like make them feel like their money is well spent and they're cared for and that you want to like bring them in enough on collaboration. Some clients really want to like brainstorm everything. Some people are just like, why are you asking me questions? You're the professional. So it's just like every new project or new client, you kind of have to like get to know a completely different person and figure out how to, make them happy when they're sending you checks.
Yeah. And that can be so challenging, especially when you're working with small clients where they might be super duper 100% of their life is in this thing too.
Yes. I mean, I love working with small businesses because I just think small businesses are more sustainable for the economy.
Absolutely.
And I love that people are passionate about what they're doing. But then, the flip side of that is that they are really passionate. And sometimes this is like their baby. Yeah. And then sometimes it's even like, this is going to make or break my business, which is terrifying. And try to set a lot of emotional boundaries for ourselves around like, we are not responsible for their business. We can only do so much.
Elizabeth, where can people find you if they want to find out more about your work or about each other?
Well, they can find me at www.eachother.studio. On Instagram, I'm at eachother. Also, if you want a very like confusing and chaotic depiction of what Anna and I do, we are at the Caruthers Brothers.
Are those your characters?
Well, we live on Caruthers.
Okay.
And we decided we're brothers. So we are the Caruthers Brothers.
That's that improv training. You gotta
exactly,
you know,
exactly. Yeah, it's all zip zap zop, baby.
let the scene lead you to the solution.
Exactly. And then I'm also, but I don't really post anything worth value, but you can follow me at eBay, EBAE, Global Marketplace.
Is that available? Is EBAE available? Can we set up our own eBay?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to.
Oh, lowest price right now is $4,500. Highest price is $13,500. So I think probably we're not going to be able to get that one. That's
hey,
a
if
shame.
all of the listeners could just chip in. What do we
For
need?
just $5 a month,
Yes.
we can own EBAE, ebay.com.
It's community.
Yeah, exactly. What are we going to do with it? Don't worry about it. We'll figure that out later. Just give us the money, please. Thank you. Yeah, so check that out. Not that website, because I don't know what's there.
Do not check out ebae.com.
No.
But you can check out elizabethstonebrown.com.
I have just typed it in, and I believe it just goes to GoDaddy. Unless, wait, maybe that link did a weird thing? I don't know. Domainsbyproxy.com.
Somebody is sitting on it.
Somebody in Tempe. Hey, Tempe, give us that domain.
Yeah.
You've got good weather right now, probably, comparatively to us.
If you've got the good weather, so you can give us the good domain.
Exactly. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for being here, Elizabeth.
Did we cover anything?
Was there other stuff you wanted to talk about?
No. I just don't know how this normally goes. You're like, bring some design work from your past and talk about times that you messed up.
That's
no,
the
but
thing I
we
forgot
literally
to fucking
don't
talk
have
about.
to.
Did you actually bring stuff?
I did, but we don't have to talk about it.
No, let's talk about it. I fucked up because
No,
normally
I don't want to
ask
anymore.
at the beginning, and I didn't because my brain doesn't work good.
If you want to, we can.
Yeah, let's talk about it. Where is this design work from?
Okay, well, so I mostly I actually didn't bring that much design work. But I did bring an email exchange with a really awful man.
All right.
That I worked for. No,
I'm up for it.
I also do have some design work if we want to look at it.
Yeah, let's.
Also, well, I was going to say the big mistake that I've made as a designer is keeping my work on physical hard drives that I then toss off my bed by accident.
Oh God.
So that I would say, have good what do they call it?
File care?
File hygiene, something dorky like that. I don't know.
File hygiene sounds good.
No, like storage hygiene. I don't know. One of my friends said that one time, and I was like, I just hate that phrase.
So they'd get out the old projector and show you. It's like a thing that's actually on slides, but it has audio, and the slides advance like it's a movie.
I really don't actually have that much work from I don't have any work from college, and I don't have very much from when I first started designing because I broke the hard drive.
You lost everything.
I've pretty much lost everything, which is sad. But I did for a while. Okay, I knew this girl that worked on the marketing team at Intel, and they needed infographics. There was like a time, I don't know, you probably have experienced this too, but people will come to you and say they need design work, and then it turns out they actually need illustration work.
Yeah,
and you're
that
like,
happens a lot.
I am not an illustrator.
You've come to the wrong place.
Yeah, and so they would, but I was like, these are huge projects. They're paying me $600 to $900. So I was like, this is big. So I gotta say, yeah. I was like straight out of college. So I did some like very unattractive like data vids.
So you've got sort of a wedding cake there.
Yeah,
in the middle.
and the title of the piece is Tech is the New White.
Oh, God.
78% of couples use the internet to plan their wedding.
Oh, no.
These are like infographics that were going on Intel's blog or something.
Okay.
Was it through Ogilvy? It was through Ogilvy. And they were like, if we do these like fun, quirky infographics, people will read them, which is like, they're not going to. Then we did this one on, it was about 2-in-1 devices. So they were like, let's illustrate famous combos from history. And also, you know, they were only paying me like $600 for this, but I was not an illustrator, but I was like, I have to illustrate this. I mean, you can tell that I can like draw shapes.
Yeah.
You know, it's not terrible.
I mean, I will say, like, they honestly look pretty good.
No, they're
I
fine.
think the thing that I'm most bothered by is thinking about Intel's 2-in-1 thing, which was that terrible thing where you rotated the laptop screen around.
Also, the screen comes off.
Oh, God.
But like,
no.
I'm not an illustrator, and I probably spent, you know, I don't even know, 50 hours on this because it's just as hard to illustrate things unless you're an illustrator.
Absolutely. Very hard.
So I don't even, you know, like my hourly rate was probably coming out to like $5 an hour or something. But I just love that like they thought that people would like these or even read them. And then they were like, let's do something creative with the blog. So these are just some of the amazing like infographics. Also that they were like, it's a cake with an Intel computer on the top of it.
Which I think would probably void the warranty. And the
Yes.
ribbon, so the ribbons are, you've got essentially 4 blocks coming out of the computer.
Well, see, so these are blocks that come out of a cake because that's sort of famously how cakes work. There's a large ribbon on them.
They're topped by an octopus ribbon.
Yes, an octopus ribbon that's attached to cards. And then the other amazing part is that there isn't actually any data viz. It's just
they didn't give
icon,
you data.
It's just an icon and a paragraph.
So more drawing that you have to do.
Yeah. And this was like a collaboration with, I don't know if you know Brit and Co, but she's like this woman that has this blog. But it was like a collaboration between like, it was like a wedding event that was sponsored by Intel. There's
so many layers to this.
The things that corporations do and spend money on and the way they like insert themselves into like a cultural part of our lives that makes zero sense. It was like a wedding focused event, like a tech in weddings.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, those are 2 of my least favorite words. And they're uniting for evil. So yeah, it was like a tech in weddings event or something that was like all sponsored by Intel and tech is the new white. It's so bad.
Truly, it would be hard to come up with a worse tagline than that.
Yeah. It's just so weird too because none of the colors or the style is like in Intel's brand book, but then they were like, but we have to keep the typography. So I had to use Intel's typeface, which is just so
lively.
Yeah. So that's kind of like it's more as like the work isn't the worst thing that I've ever seen, but it just was like this funny, weird kind of little like series of projects that I got stuck in that I was like, well, I have to say yes. And also I'm really not a good fit for them, but I'm kind of the only person that they know. And then I'm just going to work way too hard on these.
Oh God.
Yeah, and I've done I feel like there's a lot of like I've done some marketing stuff for other companies that was similar where they're like, "Oh, here's a
when the idea comes in Frankenstein, there's only so much you can do."
Some sort of like thing. I have no idea what it was about, and the only data viz is this, and it doesn't make sense.
So is it like, so it's maybe some sort of like wine flavor matching technology?
Yeah.
But is that a thing that people need?
I don't even know what this is for. I mean, I know the client, but I have no recollection of this happening.
It's hard to understand what this business could be.
Cannot do data viz.
I think there's not data here.
No, there's no data.
Represent.
It's just, I don't know. Maybe they were like, we like the stuff you did for Intel. There was like a really big period of time where everybody wanted infographics.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And they did not have info to go along with them.
Not escape them.
Yeah.
And then you're like, actually, you want me to like illustrate a farm that has like weird data. Like, it wasn't actually something that needed to have data visualization. They just wanted like an illustration with numbers.
It's such a weird. Why was it in like 2011 that everyone thought USA Today was the future?
Oh,
it's really
my
weird.
God. They really did.
They really did.
Wow, it really was a USA Today moment.
Yeah.
Who's owned, I believe, by Gannett.
Yes.
Who owned the bold italic. And it all comes full circle, doesn't it, Sean?
Yeah. See, I'm a good interviewer.
Hey, you didn't sleep much last night.
No.
But you will be hearing from my lawyers. So that's one thing. And then the other thing was more just like I will not read the exchange, but believe me, I have the receipts, people. I was like, when have I just really completely like just a project blew up? And I did this project when I was 21. I think I was just out of college.
Ooh.
And this guy found me, and he had like a kind of like business listings publication for like the North Bay or like Mill Valley. And he needed help. He wanted to kind of like update it stylistically. And I think he really mostly just wanted like a production designer. But I kind of took it as like, oh, he wants me to like explore and try some new things. And so he gave me like a budget of $500 just to like do some exploration around layouts.
Yeah.
And I always like, I think because I'm from like a brand, I mean, any designer does this. You like come up with a few different styles, you pull mood boards. And he had not wanted that.
Oh.
And so on, I guess it was like a Monday, I was like, should we meet up? I'll show you my progress. And then Tuesday he got back to me. He was like, yeah, maybe Friday. Wednesday, I said, okay, how's Friday at 1? And I kind of like told him what I was working on. And he was like, I do not want you to spend any time on inspiration gathering. I do not want you to do research. I look at other publications all the time. It's not helpful.
Okay.
Yeah. And
that's a great sign.
Yeah. But like we should have had a contract in place. I said we should do a contract, and he was like, let's just do this like first round. We'll just like try it out and see how it goes, which is a huge mistake.
Yeah.
Always do a contract if you haven't worked with someone. I mean, if you have worked with someone, but even for little projects, always do a contract. That's basically the thing that's always gotten me in trouble.
It's a cool way to not get paid.
It's a great way not to get paid.
Feel really
and
sad at the end.
Spoiler alert.
Oh.
So let's all remember this is about $500. So
princely sum.
I know. So Wednesday, I'm like, how's Friday at 1? He didn't get back to me. He never confirmed. And then Thursday night, which I did email him late, but I was also, at this time I was working a full-time job. I was running this like magazine on the side, and I was doing freelance work. So I was just like working very late every night. I emailed him and was like, hey, it's actually going to be really hard for me to like take a lunch tomorrow. So could we push our meeting to Friday or to Saturday?
Very reasonable.
He got back to me and he said, this is so unprofessional that you're pushing the meeting. It shows me you didn't do any work, and all this other work you're talking about is not how I want you to spend your time. But like, please just send me everything so I can see. Like, I doubt you've even worked on it. Cool. So I sent him the work that I did. And I was like, here's some layout options, and like here's layout options. This is what I have. I also did some like the layouts are very simple, but I'm showing you different like style tiles so that we can choose one creative direction, and then I'll apply that to the layouts. He did not understand that. No. And he got very upset with me. And I don't need to read all these, but he did send an email that said, Elizabeth, you did a lot of work and I appreciate all of your effort. Ultimately, there are some problems. Oh. I am going to describe them in great detail, so prepare yourself.
Wait, he's actually writing that?
Yes.
Fuck, no.
I first looked at the layouts 2 days ago and I was disappointed then. I haven't changed my mind. So then he put the 6 or 7 issues with my designs. Here's one of them. Overall, the type is too light, too pale. There isn't enough emphasis or typographic color. Nothing stands out. Just a bunch of light gray, bland text. Where's the entry point on this page? Do I even want to read this? Where do I start? And then he goes at the end, so A lot of harsh criticism. You are only 21 and you are going to get better and better.
Jesus Christ.
I'll send you the draft that I ultimately approve, and then you can be as mean as you like. Then he continues the email. 10 minutes later, he says, I was going to send you a check for $500, but your work is not good. You did not spend enough time on it. How about we split it?
How about we split it?
I'll give you $250.
That's fun. That's a real fun one.
Yeah. And then after that, I was just like, okay, thank you for your critique. I think the amount that I charge is reasonable. This is like my process. And then he called me. I didn't pick up. I was like, I'm at work. And he was like, well, I'll call you later. Then he called me that night and started screaming at me on the phone. Yeah. To which I was like, goodbye to you, sir. And then he sent me a follow-up email saying that he has hired 30 or 40 graphic designers over the past 20 years. And if he
that's quite a few.
I know.
It seems like he might have some trouble keeping relationships going.
And he's like, if I don't like the work, it's irrelevant. I pay them. You did not do the work. Like, you delivered some layouts. You did a bunch of work I didn't want you to do. And this is his math. He goes, 15 hours is actually $450 at $30 an hour. I am deducting the hours you spent on working things I didn't want you to do, which I am not going to pay for.
So you're just meant to kind of like pull this out of your head, like
yes.
Athena coming out of Zeus.
He says, from $450, I am deducting 2 hours that you spent creating unwanted style sheets, plus 2 hours for the layout I told you twice not to do. Deduct 4 hours equals $120. I have mailed you a check today for $330. I will not be using anything you sent me or developing it further. I am sorry this turned out badly. I am very disappointed.
Wow.
Best wishes.
Best wishes.
So that was the only time that a project has like really exploded. And it was one of my first freelance projects. And I was like, I was kind of standing my ground, but I was also like, I suck.
Yeah.
I really messed up.
It's hard.
And
it's
Andrew's
hard.
gonna tell everybody that I'm a bad designer.
All the other 30 or 40 designers that he's pissed off over
exactly.
the years.
In his newsletter to all of his designers that have quit working with him.
This Elizabeth Brown, she does process. I hate it.
I know. I was like, I mean, I should have gotten sign off on the process. That was like my bad, but I really thought that we were like communicating around it.
Well, it's like he understands enough to use the right language.
Yes.
So like, how do you know that much and yet not know that like that's necessary? It's really weird.
Yeah, it also was weird because he wanted me to update the design.
Yeah.
But he didn't want me to do any exploration. And so I kind of don't really understand how you would do that.
Two things seem a bit in opposition, yes.
Yeah. And I thought I was doing the exploration by like building out kind of the creative direction through like mood boards and styles. And then also in parallel working on very simple layouts just to be like, this is the layout, but there's no like design flourishes.
Yeah.
And then I was going to apply that. But I think that he thought that the other work should have been integrated, which it could have been. And I think, I was just young. And so I didn't.
He was demanding your work before it was finished, though, too.
I know. I know. It was very like, I think we all come across those people that are not content to like disagree and try to resolve the situation. They need you to agree with them and they need you to admit your wrongdoing and your bad intention.
Yes.
Because when he yelled at me on the phone, he was like, you're trying to like steal my money and not do any work. Like
great.
Insinuating that I'm just like scamming him. I was like,
for again, $500.
$500. I'm 21. I just got out of college. And this is like a 50-year-old man. So, and he just really wanted me to like admit that I hadn't done any work.
Yeah.
And I was like, I did work. You just don't like it.
Yeah.
So, I learned my lesson.
God.
Always write contracts. Never let an older guy go, oh, it's fine, we'll figure it out. And then write out your deliverables very carefully.
Everybody should know exactly what's supposed to be coming in and when.
Yeah. Well, I'm so glad that I extended the podcast.
Me too. That was very good. Thank you.
It was very fun. I was like, where are those emails? I have to find them.
Absolutely. I mean, can I say I'm amazed that you kept them, because I have had maybe not emails to that degree, but definitely very bad emails, and I delete them because otherwise
really?
They haunt me.
Oh.
I'll find them in a search and be like, oh fuck.
No,
I can't look at this again.
I unless it's just like random emails like spam that I don't want. I really don't like letting go of records of communication. Like I have texts from people from like 2012 in my phone because I think my phone started deleting them, which I guess is fine. But I love looking back. I love looking at it's like a diary kind of. You're like, what was my perspective as a person? How did I write? How did I communicate with people? I think it's interesting. Also, I was just like, this guy's the worst.
Yeah.
I know I messed up, but he is not cool. And so I'm maybe a little bit smug about it.
Well, I think you came out of that a lot healthier than I think certainly I have from some of my bad client interactions.
Oh, yeah. I think because he was just so ridiculously over the top.
Yeah.
Like all of his emails and then calling me to yell at me, I didn't feel as bad. I think if it was someone that was calmer and was like really disappointed.
Yeah. He did a good job of making the subtext text, and that's
Yes.
really helpful when you're unsure even a little bit whether you're right.
Also, I was really appreciative of, how he said that I was going to get better and better. So he actually taught me a lot.
He's the reason that you're such a great designer today.
Yeah,
he pushed you.
Yeah, I said I got into design through college, but actually I got into design through
an abusive
Andrew.
Nut.
Yes. Yeah.
How many designers do you think he's up to now? 90?
I would love to know. He's probably writing the email right now. Tick, 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 tick. I've had 80 to 90 designers work with me in the past.
17 just on this project alone.
I'm like 30 to 40 designers.
If I don't fire 2 designers on a Tuesday, then I've wasted the day.
That's another lesson, which I didn't know going into it, but I would say if your client has worked with really amazing designers and can't seem to be satisfied with any of their previous work, wouldn't recommend working with them.
Yeah. Also, you can work with a designer more than once, and if he's got a roster that big,
I'm like, why
he's not talking to them for a reason.
I know. I'm like, why don't you just go back to them?
Yeah.
Why? How did you even find me? I don't even remember.
And the restraining order, I think, is a big part of that.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have a contentious, parting with everyone you've worked with, then you can't really go back to them to work on updating your publication. No, I know. I am like, I'm the person. Also, I'm sure he was looking to pay someone, almost nothing. He paid me $30 an hour.
Yeah.
So,
not exactly a living wage in that part of the country.
In San Francisco, I wouldn't say.
No. Well, thank you so much for for being here.
Thank you for indulging me when I'm like, I actually think I need to talk for longer. Did I even say anything?
No,
I should
that
talk
was
more.
That was fantastic show meet. I really appreciate it.
Cool.
I'm glad that one of us is awake.
Well, I've got enough life in me for the both of us.
Thank you. And thank you also to the listener. If this sounds like something that's right up your alley, why not rate, review, subscribe to this show? Even better, if you enjoy this show, why not tell a friend about it? Because friendship is magic, according to a television program I watched. You can follow this show on lots of places. You can follow it on Instagram. maybe you can follow it on Twitter. I don't know if Twitter will still exist or be a place that I want to be on by the time this show comes out, but we'll find out. And also places like YouTube. We are at dididothat.design on YouTube and Instagram, and something else on Twitter that I don't remember. And you can get to those also from our website, which is dididothat.design. So this has been Did I Do That? I'm Sean Schumacher, and as we always say at the end of every episode,
I don't know. Oh, it's like whatever?
It's like whatever. Okay, bye.
Perfect.
Fantastic.
Perfect.
Beautiful. Yes. Thank you so much. Oh,
Love
you know
that.
what? The rest of this is not yours. That is actually the other guy, so that's not helpful.
There's another guy?
Oh, no, that was the episode I just recorded.
I thought I was the only episode you were record.
Yeah, you're gonna. This is a bi-weekly podcast with one guest. It's very time-consuming.
Yeah.
I don't know why you agreed to it. The pay is terrible, also. Yes.